Hey guys, it is Miss Potts. We're going to do something a little bit different again this week. We are going to be working on decimal of the day, number of the day, and time of the day. We have not started this. This is review, but we haven't done these types of slides yet in the classroom. So I want to go over them with you and what they're going to look like. But this should all be work that we have done before and have seen before. So the first slide, of course, is it's telling you to please make sure you're watching the video and you're going to look at the example pages before you actually complete the work yourself. So with that being said, let me show you what I mean by that. So this is the example page I created for decimal of the day. And if you look over here, it tells you here is an example of how to complete the decimal of the day for the next two slides. So you're going to come back to this slide for help if you get into trouble or you're not for sure what to do. The next two slides after this one will all be on decimal of the day. So on this paper, it gives you the decimal that it wants you to focus on. So my decimal was 2 and 685 thousandths. So that was my decimal. And remember, this first place before the decimal point is your ones place. The first place after the decimal is your tenths, then your hundredths, then your thousandths. So what it first wants you to do is to write it in word form. So word form is exactly as you say it, 2 and 685 thousandths. Okay? Then it wants you to go ahead and type it into expanded form. Remember, expanded form is when we're breaking that number up or this decimal up. So we have 2 ones plus 6 tenths. So you would write it as 0.6 plus 8 hundredths. So we have a 0.08. So remember, we put that 0 because we put the 0 in front of for the 6. Plus 5 thousandths. If you want to write it in decimal form. Or if you want, you can go ahead and write it as fractions. We know it was 2 plus 6 tenths plus 8 hundredths plus 5 thousandths. You can write it that way. It's up to you. I showed you both ways for you to see it, and you can pick whichever way you want to type it in when it's your turn. So after you do expanded form, you're going to add the decimal. So 2 and 685 thousandths plus 3 and 75 hundredths. So you're probably going to need a piece of paper to add those two up. After you add them, you're going to type what you got. You're going to type your answer. In this case, I got 6 and 435 thousandths. You're going to do the same thing, but subtracting it. So you're going to do 2 and 685 thousandths minus 85 hundredths, and I got 1 and 835 thousandths. Next step, you're multiplying it by the powers of 10. So if you remember, 10 to the power of 1 is just 10. That means I'm going to look at this decimal and I'm just going to shift my decimal right one place because I have a 1 here. So when I shifted it right one place, I got 26 and 85 hundredths. Now we want to multiply that decimal by the power of 2. That means 10 to the power of 2 is 100. There's 2 zeros. There's a little 2 up here. So I'm going to take my decimal and shift it right 2 spots. So my decimal point is now going to be behind the 8. So it's 268 and 5 tenths. Okay, multiplying by the power, or 10 to the power of 3. That is 1,000, or you can think, oh, I'm only moving my decimal 3 places to the right. So if I move it 3 places, that means my decimal point is now behind the 5. So my answer is 2,685. Finally, you want to multiply it by 10 to the power of 4. You're shifting that decimal 4 times. Oh, look. So if I want to shift it 3, I'm behind the 5. I want to shift it 1 more, I have to add that 0. Remember, we've practiced that. So that means that my answer would be 26,850. Next, you're going to divide it. So like multiplying, we're shifting, but instead of shifting right, you're going to shift left those many places. So 10 to the power of 1, I'm shifting my decimal left. So that means I have to go in this direction. So my decimal point would go in front of the 2. And you can see here's my answer. 0 and 2,685. Then you keep going. So I'm adding my zeros each time in front of this because remember you have to shift it 2 spots here. So that means you have to add those zeros in front. We've also practiced that. So you're going to shift it 1 time, 2 times, 3 times, 4 times. Remember you shift to the left when you are dividing. Then you're going to round it. So your decimal was 2 and 685 thousandths. I wanted to round it to the tenths place. I can come up here and look at these right here because they're right here. My tenths spot was where my 6 was. So I need to look at that 8. Is that 8 going to make my 6 go up or is it going to make it stay the same? In this case, it makes it go up. Because remember, 0 through 4, stay on the floor. We stay the same. 5 through 9, we climb the vine. We're going to go up 1. So this 8 made my 6 go up to a 7. So I have 2 and 7 tenths. You're going to do the same thing, but rounding to the hundredths. So that means I need to look at this 5 to see if it's going to make my 8 go up or stay the same. In this case, it made my 8 go up to a 9. So I wrote that. Then my ones place, that is the digit before my decimal. So I have to look at the 6. Is it going to make my 2 go up to a 3 or stay the same? It made it go up to a 3. Then the last thing you're going to do is you're going to compare it. So you write your decimal again, which was 2 and 685 thousandths. You're comparing it to 2 and 7 tenths. So that means my 2 are the same for my 1, so I can't judge by that. So I have to look at my tenths. I have a 6 and I have a 7. Oh, well, 7 is bigger, so I would drag the less than sign because 2 and 685 thousandths is less than 2 and 7 tenths. So you're going to do this on your own for slides 3. Here's yours. And slides 4. It gives you your own decimal that you're going to focus on. So you're going to do this for those next 2 slides. Okay, I'm going to come to my 5th slide. Now I'm at my number of the day. So kind of like your decimal of the day, you're focusing on a certain number. In this case, my number I need to look at for the first 4 problems are 124,563. So it wants me to write that in word form first. I went ahead and retyped my number that I'm looking at so I can you have to add it first. So you're going to add this number to this number. Then I went ahead and typed the answer. That way I can easily look at it because it wants you to write the answer or the sum in word form. So I typed the answer here and then I wrote it in word form what my answer was. Same thing. It wants you to take this number here and subtract it by this number. Again, you're probably going to need paper for this. And then once you get your answer, I went ahead and typed it here. And then you're going to write it in expanded form. You're just pulling out the place values for it. We've been practicing this all year, so this should be nothing new for you. Okay, then you are going to type a number that has a 2 in it that is 10 times the value of the 2 in this number. Well, our value of 2 here, that stands for 20,000. So I have to think, what number is going to be 10 times bigger than 20,000? And that was 200,000. So I put my 2 in my 100,000s spot. Then you're rounding your number to the nearest 10,000. Okay, if you come up here, your 2 is in your 10,000ths place. So you have to look at your 4. Does this make your 2 go up or stay the same? Well, this 4 makes my 2 stay the same. So I have 1, 2, and everything turns to zeros. And you can see that I typed that here. So my answer would be 120,000. Okay, so for the next problems, 5 through 7, you're going to use the number 36. So 36 times 24 is 864. You're going to need a piece of paper for that. Use the turtle head method like we've been practicing all year. Then you're dividing your number. Then it says divide the product. So product is an answer to a multiplication problem. So I'm looking at this problem right here. So I'm dividing this by 4. I wanted to take 864 divided by 4, and I got my answer, which was 216. You're going to do those the same way I did it here for slides 6 and slides 7. Okay? Same thing that I just talked about. So please go back and look at the example slide if you get confused or rewatch this video. Last thing you're going to do is time of the day. We haven't worked a huge amount with time this year, so I just want you to try your best. It gives you a clock, and it wants you to tell the time. So the red hand, which is your shorthand, is your hour hand, and that's pointing to the 2. So my hour is 2. And then I have to count my minute hand, which is the blue hand. So I know my minutes go by 5. So this would be 5, 10, 15, but I'm not exactly on 15. Now I have to count the dots. 16, 17, 18. So my time is 2:18. It asks you, what time will it be 45 minutes later? So if my time is 2:18, what is 45 minutes later? I'm going to add 45 minutes to that, and I would get 3:03. Here it says, what time was it 30 minutes ago? That means I'm subtracting 30 minutes from my start time. So if I start at 2:18 and I want to subtract 30 minutes, it would have been 1:48. Then lastly, how much longer till it's 3:15? Well, if it's 2:18 now, how many minutes is it going to be until you get to 3:15? And that would be 57 minutes. You're going to do that here. I just want you to try your best. If you're not completely right, that's okay, because we haven't worked a huge amount with time. I just want to see how well you do on it. The other ones, those are the most important ones I'm really focusing on as your decimal of the day and number of the day, because we did a lot with decimals and numbers this year. Again, please come back and watch the help video if you need help. Also, you have 5 slides you're doing on your own, so you can even do a slide a day. It doesn't have to be all at one time. It can be Monday you do one, Tuesday you do a different one, Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday, all different ones. So pick one a day to do. If you want to do them all at one time, that's fine. If not, just pick one a day and turn them in when you are finished. But please make sure you're turning them in. Please make sure you are contacting me if you have any questions. I'm always here to help. And please rewatch the video if you have any problems. You always come to this slide and click the link. All right, guys, thanks so much for listening. I hope you have a great day.